Okay, so on the Jag, this was special ordered from Europe, and unfortunately, as you can see, that hose end, this hose end do not match. So that is going to be here on Tuesday. These rubber pieces here go back there behind the back under all this wiring harness, etc. Trying to get a good view on it back there. Also, after doing an extra leak check, we found this hose here with the blue tape on it. This one, that was covered up by this. So this sits on top of the engine where that white rag is in the back. Sits like this, and there's some other covers and things that go with it, but there was a chewed hose obscured by this, unbeknownst to us. This hose goes down under all of this to the front. It's maybe after this, there's about 10-12 inches of hose, and you can see that's where it was chewed, in a place that would have otherwise been completely covered up by that cover. Stupid light. Anyway, so this little hose was found to be chewed. There's a chew spot there at the edge of the blue tape. It is 6 to 8 hours of labor just to remove all of this here, and there's a very good chance that little plastic things and other stuff gets damaged. So it's really not ideal. I'm going to try and make a piece of hose to just patch the eaten up part. Also, somebody else has been in here at some time, because you can see this yellow silicone on this little rubber elbow. Somebody has glued that into place. It's cool, it's okay, it's working, but somebody else was in here at some point tinkering. But this hose right here with the blue tape on it, and that big turn, it's an entire day's work to get to the other side of that hose buried under all of this. So I don't think it's wise to attempt that. I'm going to see if we can just put a piece of silicone rubber hose in its place. I did find an air conditioning line that is chewed there with the blue tape on it, but it doesn't appear to be leaking. So there were two hose surprises, one of them being that one on the back of the engine here with the rat chew on it that was obscured by the top of the engine, and then this freaking hose. Let's see, I'm trying to show this effing heater hose where it's chewed at, and I can't even see it. It's ridiculous. Jeez almighty. Well, take for granted that that hose that I can't reach here, this, in a spot that nobody would ever see, has chew marks on it, chewed all the way through. And that is what this is. This goes down under the side of the engine, and all of these clamp in there under that. We've had to disassemble the entire front where the wiper motor and everything else is at, and that's what this big pile of parts is here. Airbox there for the heater assembly, that piece, this piece, and that piece down there. And typical of the rodent damage in there, this is what we're finding. Mind you, it's not in places you can necessarily see all of them, But this hose was replaced, and then after disassembling a whole bunch of other ones, we found more chew marks on a hose in a place that we couldn't see. So most recent slight but significant delay was that this hose needs to be sourced to see if I can use it to cut and splice that in lieu of taking all of this off the top of the engine. That was a last minute find during a leak check. And then this hose coming in correctly. These are not able to be removed from this pipe without potentially damaging them. So there is a new one coming, and then we've got to fish it down under and through. All of this piping in here has been inspected, but there is one in particular. Where's that octopus hose at that goes to the front bumper? Is it this one? Is this one? No, that's not it. It's the one that goes from the intercoolers to the Is that it right there on the ground? Where's that? It's the one that connects right here.
That's this one.
And goes up. That's the one? Okay. So this hose goes here to the top of the engine, bolts across there, and then it sneaks down through the firewall, and it connects down there behind the bumper. So that hose end there, to get to it, we had to remove all the bumper, all the sensors, all this other stuff. These are washers for your headlights. And that's because of this chew damage here. This hose is out of production. There's none used available. There's nothing available anywhere. It's not a conventional size. So what we're going to do is cut this out here and attempt to splice in another piece, or find a custom hose that can be built. But you see how it's a different diameter here and here. It's formed and molded. It's not a consistent diameter the entire length of it. In fact, this end is a different size than that end, and in between it's a couple of different diameters. So it's almost 7/8 of an inch. I'm going to get soft copper rolled tubing and insert it and make this 90-degree bend and replace that rubber with soft rolled copper, and then clamp onto it. So that should be a fix for that hose. So this weekend I'm going to be fabricating a piece of copper to go into that. On Tuesday, this is coming in, and I'm going to attempt to put a spliced piece of hose into that. So those are the last 3 pieces to be repaired before it can be reassembled. Everything else seems to be fine, but this hose being out of production and an uncommon size with a chew in a place that you couldn't see until it was actually removed was a bit of a surprise. So I know this is 8 minutes of long-winded explanation, but it helps give a little perspective. All of the hoses that were chewed and initially damaged and understood to be damaged, this one included, have been replaced, and it was on subsequent leak checks that additional ones were found to be leaking. So sadly, some of it cannot be seen without watching for water to come out when you try to run it. And stuff like this that was known to be leaking when it was towed in, obviously when water's pumping everywhere, you don't necessarily see the little teeny ones on the back under the top of the engine. So that is the update for this weekend, and hopefully when this assembly comes in on Tuesday, we should be able to get this in on Tuesday, and hopefully I've fixed the other 2 over the weekend.